Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to share with you what I would call my PlayStation 4 Dualshock 4 Elite controller. Basically, this is as close as I could get to the factory controller without getting a different one or anything, and it's fairly affordable to do. Well, I started out this generation with the Xbox One, and then I upgraded to the Elite controller, which I really like. Just has a good build quality. I like the grips, like the smooth texture, just the better detail, metal sticks, heavier feel, everything feels solid. So when I went to the PS4 controller, I know that DualShocks are always smaller, and I don't really mind that, but it just felt too small, and the handle was very, very slippery. I was, it was sliding out of my hand, and the triggers weren't that good. I don't know how well this can pick up on camera. And the analog sticks weren't that great either. So I went ahead and did as much as I could to modify it. I know there's other ones like the Razer, and I think there's like a Nancon, or I can't remember what it was called, but there's two other ones. Both of them are wired, and they both have their pros and cons. I know on the older models these would kind of tear apart. This is the newer controller that has the light bar here that came with the Pro. They're okay, but they're just, they're just too close. So I've been using these ones. I bought them at GameStop, right? Not really long after I got my PlayStation. I'm really happy with these. They go on fairly easy. It's the first time I've ever used Control Freaks. They do slide a wee little bit. If you wanted it to be permanent, you could put a touch of super glue on it, but I don't want it to be permanent. Sometimes I do switch these. I think the main thing I did was this Control Freak wrap that I put on. I did my best to get it on as even as I could. It makes the controller slightly thicker, but really not by much. But I don't know, it just really changes the way it feels. It adds just a slight amount of weight, but not much. That really changed it for me and made it a lot better. And the triggers, I wasn't a fan. They are a big improvement over the PS3 controller, which you can just see in comparison. This one, I've had it for many years. This is like from 08. Same one. Battery life's terrible. So the DualShock 4 is a huge improvement, but I just tried to make it even better. As you can see, the pack I bought actually came with two sets for some reason. And they just barely, like cup and kind of clip on. I actually just put some super glue on mine so they would never come back off. They're not going anywhere. This was like maybe like $5 or not even $10, around $5, and you got two, but I don't really need the other two. But it took some getting used to because I was used to the shorter triggers, but this is just so much better. So it's really a must-have. And then I did put one of these stickers on there. So now my PS4 will boot up, but let's see how it. And I have the newer one. But what you can do is you can buy these. You can also get them customized depending on the seller to say different things. These are just some of the ones they offered. These are like under $5 on eBay. They're a little tricky to put on because you want to make sure that you get it perfectly covering the entire light, and it has to overlap so that way light doesn't bleed through. So it makes it look like this was originally how it was made. And it's a little hard sometimes to get those little tiny pieces. I had to use tweezers to really line those up. But again, that's just being picky. And one of the main things I did, which I did a review on this, is I got an external battery pack, because the thing I hate the most is just the battery life is awful. The Xbox 360, the Xbox One, AA batteries, which people don't like them, but I like that because it gives you the option to put AA's in it or to use the play and charge kit. So either way, you have options. If the play and charge kit goes bad, you can buy a new one. Batteries, I get almost 30 hours. I've had the play and charge kit in this, not in this controller, but I had it in my original one for 4 years now, and it gets about 30 hours of gameplay, which is excellent. The Dualshock 4 just doesn't come near that. It's maybe 10, just guessing. With this, it should double it. This one doesn't work right. Again, I did a review. I can link it in here. I don't like this one. I would recommend getting the Nyko version. There may be other ones. There's different designs. Some come down here, clip on, and sometimes they have a chat pad, or there's other options, but I would recommend something like this. You can take these apart and put a bigger battery. I think the DualShock 3 actually had a bigger battery in it, but with this on it, this is one of the negatives of this, is you can't separate the controller now. With this on it, you'd have to rip this off and it would ruin it, and I'm sure it would leave residue behind. But for me, I like to get the Nyko one because this one doesn't, it'll usually shut back off, which is, I don't know, but it does kind of work. I have it make it, but it just doesn't work the right way. It doesn't charge the controller so much. I think it just kind of runs off that when it's plugged in. And I did buy these separate. I wanted to get this, but I couldn't find this on its own. I had to get it with a bundle, which I think it was like a lot, but it was discounted, so I didn't pay much more than like $20. So I got these ones. These are shorter. I like this style for FPS. In most games I can play. This one's a little different, but I'd prefer like this on the PlayStation one. But for MLB The Show, this is just too sensitive, so I lower it back down to these ones, which these are okay too, but I just like the feel of these the most. But I'm really happy with this setup. These are $15 if you can get it in like the GameStop pack, which I think you can get on Amazon too. They're $30 for that. The carrying case that holds these and these Vortex are included with it. So it would be between $15 and $30. These were, I think, $15, $5. This was like $5, and I think this was $10. And you also get a very long, nicely braided micro USB cable to charge it with. So there it is. I think this is pretty cheap. It's cheaper than buying the $100 controllers that don't have the greatest build quality. This is just your factory Sony controller with just some options I think make it about as good as you can get it. You already have the built-in headphone jack and everything. It's holding up pretty well. It's certainly so far holding up better than the DualShock 3. So I'm happy with it. I would recommend doing it this way. You can try other things. You can try different styles of these, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's not as good as the Xbox, but it makes it a lot more, for someone that's accustomed to that style, it makes it a lot more comfortable and a little bit more of a middle ground between the two. So hopefully you enjoyed my in-depth analysis on this. It's pretty good looking. So hopefully this would inspire you to try something out with yours if you haven't done anything with your controller. I'm pretty happy with the end result. I've been using it like this for months, and I'm very happy with it. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.